Today on the I Guess I Look Like a Sweet Old Grandmother Says podcast, I'll be discussing YouTube lowering their partner program requirements, if dislikes on YouTube damage or harm a video's performance, and other stuff too, so go ahead and stick around. Let's start with the YouTube news, and I think this is actually kind of a big deal. This last week, YouTube announced that they are lowering the requirements to join the partner program. If you aren't a content creator, the partner program is just a way of earning money on YouTube. You can get ads, you can get money from your audience through through a bunch of different ways. Being a part of the partner program just means you can earn money directly on YouTube and receive a payment from Google. Up until now, or at least for the last couple of years, the requirement to join the partner program has been 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time in the last 365 days. They made a change to this, and now the requirements are 500 subscribers, so they cut that in half, and 3,000 watch hours in the last 365 days, or 3 million shorts views in the last 90 days, and on top of that, you need 3 public uploads in the last 90 days or last 3 months. There is one big asterisk here. Asterisk here. I haven't seen this discussed. This is not full access to YPP, the YouTube Partner Program. When you get accepted with these requirements, you only gain access to fan funding features. You only gain access to get money from your audience on YouTube. This means YouTube memberships, super thanks, super stickers, super thanks, did I say that twice? And promoting your own products with YouTube shopping. So when you get in and you only have 500 subs, you are not getting advertising dollars. You are not getting ad revenue share. In order to get ad revenue share, what are the requirements? 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time in the last year. That remains unchanged. So if you want to earn money from ads from all the billions and billions of views that you're getting, you still need to have those original requirements that remain unchanged. I think there are going to be a lot of people that are very ticked off about that because I just saw YPP requirements lowered. Oh my gosh, everybody's getting access at lower numbers. Nope. If you have an incredibly engaged audience, that will be great because your audience will likely support you. If you don't, if you are solely living off of the algorithm and you don't have a committed community around you on YouTube, chances are you're not going to see much here. You're likely not going to see much. So I think building a community on YouTube, working on interacting with people and getting people watching you that you like to interact with is very important. And if you want to earn money, that's incredibly important because I don't think people who just stumble across videos on the algorithm through the algorithm just for a bit of fleeting fun really contribute much to content creators financially. I don't think they say, that was a great vlog, here's $25. I don't know. I don't think that happens too much. I do think this is good news though, because allowing content creators to be compensated for their work is amazing. And there are so many great channels out there that don't have 1,000 subscribers. In the audio community alone, I stumble across a lot of channels that are sub 1,000 subscribers that are fantastic. The production quality, the information quality is all outstanding. And the ability to compensate those creators financially is awesome. So I think this is a positive move. I anticipate people being very angry when they realize, oh, I just joined YPP because I hit 3,000 watch hours and 500 subs. Where is all of my ad money? When they realize that they aren't getting that ad money, I think people will be very angry on Twitter. That is it for the news. I will link the Google blog, the YouTube blog post about this so you can read a bit more. They go on their typical bragging. Hey, a lot of people earn money from fan funding. Typical blog stuff, corporate stuff. Let's go ahead and do an update on the like/dislike experiment. If you don't know, 2 weeks ago, I ran an experiment if likes impact video's performance. So I asked everybody to like the video. 100% like ratio. The results, no change from prior videos. So last week I said, okay, everybody dislike this video. Let's see if dislikes destroy this video and this channel. And we got a lot of dislikes. Let's go ahead and discuss all of the analytics. Last week's episode, number 1 out of 10. The best performing video out of the last 10 that I put out. The views were up, the click-through rate was up, and the view time was down. Then as far as dislikes, we got 463 dislikes. That is incredible. This is a 19% like to dislike ratio. This is most likely the most disliked video on the channel. I didn't pull that stat while I was recording or before I started recording. I will have that up on screen. This has to be the most disliked video. And 110 likes, so 20% likes, 80% dislikes. Fantastic. I just need to give y'all a round of applause. That was amazing. Thank you so much. That's incredible. Incredible. How about impressions? Last week's episode, 350, received about 31,000 impressions. And 2 weeks ago, episode 349, got 18,000 impressions. And there's something very interesting here. About 14 hours after the video got published, there was a big bump. And then maybe 18 hours, there was another big bump. But I think this graph up on screen, by the way, if you are just listening, I recommend watching the video version because there is a lot of visual components here. But the first 14 hours are nearly identical to the prior episode. And in my mind, this puts to rest the idea that a video that has amazing likes is going to improve the initial distribution of the next video. Because episode 349 received 100% likes and hundreds of likes, which is a lot higher than usual. And if that was going to lead to the following video having a bigger initial push because the last video did so good, we would see the impression line from episode to episode be significantly different from the beginning, but they are almost exactly the same. So in my mind, that puts to rest the idea that a video doing extremely well in terms of likes is going to impact the following video's performance. Just wanted to share that. Then as far as the views, 2,900 for 350 and 1,200 for 349. Percent completion. I'm just going through these so we can see if anything stands out. That's why we're doing it. Then for percent completion, I imagined this would be very different from video to video. If a video has a longer watch time, people watch a larger percentage of the video. That video will get pushed more. So because episode 350 did so well, you'd imagine the percent completion would be sky high. Oh my gosh, people are watching so much more of it. The percent completion is identical. Not identical, it's 27.2 versus 26.5. So a 0.7, it's less than a 1% difference. The lines are nearly identical in terms of percent completion over time. So that didn't impact it at all. How about comments, engagement? There's a big discrepancy here. 350 has 110 comments, 349 has 36 comments. So that's an outlier. Perhaps comments are a factor of engagement, of viewer satisfaction that may lead to more distribution. Perhaps. I don't know, but that is a very big difference in performance there. And how about subscribers gained? I posited last week that maybe subscribers gained is a huge indicator, a huge metric for viewer satisfaction, because what tells the YouTube algorithm that somebody is satisfied with a video more than them saying, I need more of this content, subscribe? And last week's episode, 29 subscribers gained. 2 weeks ago, 7. Pretty big difference. And then we have the last graph that I am sharing, the click-through rate. And this is quite different. 5.8% for last week, 3.8% for 2 weeks ago. And I think that is the biggest impact on the performance, because that higher initial click-through rate, which was above 6% for subscribers, because that first day, I think YouTube is really testing the subscribers to the channel. And the subscriber click-through rate was over 6% versus about 3.5%, 4% for the prior week's episode. So that higher subscriber interest likely told YouTube this is a good video, show it to more people. Show it to non-subscribers. That's my theory. But I do want to explore a lot more of these metrics. This has been super helpful for me to try to understand what's important. And seeing these analytics, these metrics that I thought were super important for videos to do well, and when they're identical from video to video and the performance is so drastically different from video to video, that tells me that metric likely not that important. The overall watch time in terms of minutes was vastly different from 349 to 350. The percent completion, nearly identical. But the performance, massively different. So higher watch minutes, worse performing video. Exact same view percentage, one did well, one did poorly. So it's a different metric that's impacting the performance. That's the point. A few things that I want to test. I want to find some way to test click-through rate. I want to test the comment idea. Maybe higher comments would lead to better or worse performance. And subscriptions. So what do we want to test this week? I guess comments are easiest. If you are watching this on YouTube, please leave a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are on the YouTube Partner Program lowering their requirements, and let me know if you're surprised by any of these findings in this analysis. And let's try to beat that 110 comments from last week's episode. And we'll see if that has any impact on the video's performance. Then the following week, we'll do something with subscriptions, and then the following week after that, we'll do the click-through rate. And I'll keep analyzing the click-through rate on each of these episodes that comes out. That is it for the analysis, the news. Let's talk about what I've been testing. You and man listening to it. Still on the Lewitt PeerTube, full disclosure, on loan from Lewitt. But I am doing something different today. I am running through an analog outboard preamp, a tube preamp, and a optical compressor. Universal Audio LA610, gain plus 10, level at 2.5, no EQ, and I am getting compression on this thing quite a bit. I'm actually limiting it. And then running into the WYHTS. That is what you're listening to. Let me know what you think of this. I was playing around with it last night in voice chat, and I wasn't clipping, but I was just saturating the heck out of this thing. I was saying, okay, let's see how much overdrive we can get out of this sucker and drive people insane. It was fun. Okay, Let's jump to what you had to say. First comment comes from Miles. They say, you could also experiment with YouTube's promotions feature and see how that affects your numbers. Miles, thank you very much for the comment, and thank you for giving me a reason to talk about this feature. I saw this a couple of months ago, and I was horrified when I saw it. I went to try to find it today after pulling your comment, and I couldn't find it in my YouTube studio, but I know I have seen it. I have even shared screenshots with somebody and said, oh my God, I'm terrified of this. I will not be doing this. I will not be testing it. I will not be advocating that anybody does this. Why? Because of Facebook. How does that make sense, Bandrew? YouTube is not Facebook. But look at what Facebook is. Or look at how Facebook functions. You set up a page. You create content. You post on that page. You garner a huge following there, a bunch of people who follow your page because they want your content. Now when you post, nobody sees it. How does that post get to your audience? You have to pay to promote a post to reach the people who follow you. That is how Facebook seems to function, and that is why I refuse to use Facebook for any content, because I refuse to pay to reach people who want my content. If somebody subscribes to me, if somebody follows me, I think they should receive that content. So because I see how Facebook is set up and how Facebook functions, I refuse to even test this out because I am terrified that YouTube may view that as, hey, this is a good proof of concept. Content creators are so desperate to reach people that they gave us money. I don't want to contribute to that, so I will not even be testing it. Because I don't want them to roll this out. I don't want YouTube to go down the road of Facebook because Facebook is garbage. So the fact that this promotions thing is even in the studio, it is in beta, horrifies me. I am terrified of it, and I hope nothing comes of it. I hope YouTube does not think, wow, content creators gave us money. This is a feasible option. Maybe we should limit the distribution of everybody's videos so they feel a requirement to give us money to reach that audience. I don't want to do that. So thank you very much for the comment. Thank you for the recommendation. I will not be doing that. Next, we have a comment from Jeremiah Hartman Photography. He says, of course, click-through rate is YouTube's favorite metric, lol. That's why every single channel has the exact same looking thumbnail and borderline clickbait title like, I can't believe she said this, or I tried XYZ microphone and something shocking happened. Lol, the more a channel click-through rate is, the more ads YouTube can show. Which right now, they are bombing channels with ads, even demonetized channels that are considered not advertiser-friendly. YouTube is in a financial crisis because TikTok is dominating, so they want every creator to make nothing but shorts and not pay creators what they used to for AdSense revenue. Lol. Then he goes on and responds to me. YouTube just did a third quarter at a loss. Several creators made videos saying their YouTube reps are pressuring them to concentrate on shorts. The earnings reports just came out along with the new CEO's plan. Interesting stuff. Jeremiah, thank you very much for your comment and your analysis. Parts of your comment I agree with and I understand. Other parts I have not done sufficient research to know for sure. As far as the YouTube's reps pushing shorts, that's no surprise to me. Or pressuring content creators to concentrate on shorts. That's not surprising to me at all. I have even seen this in the YouTube studio. I don't have a YouTube rep. I have nobody at YouTube to get in touch with. But in the back end, many times they say, hey, maybe you should concentrate on shorts. Hey, you're not growing that fast. Maybe you should do shorts. People who do shorts grow a lot faster. So I'm not surprised that the YouTube channels who actually have somebody to talk to at YouTube are getting that same advice. And when you think about the video landscape, that makes perfect sense. I think it was 6 months or maybe a year ago, I was discussing some analytics that came out about how much time was being spent on each video platform. And TikTok was, I think at the time, even with YouTube, or maybe even higher than YouTube, slightly higher. And that is when YouTube started focusing very heavily on shorts and pushing shorts a lot more. I have started to see shorts that are quite a bit better. People seem to be understanding what the platform is or what the content style is and how they can use it to their benefit. I personally still haven't found that for Podcastage, and the only way that I use it for the clips channel is just, hey, this is a stupid thing I said that fits in 60 seconds. Let's upload that and see how that goes. It doesn't go well for me. Those shorts do not perform well. I am just not cut out for that content, or I haven't found an approach to that. So I understand and agree with that. YouTube is pushing it, they are pressuring creators, and the reps are likely pressuring creators, or I understand. I would expect. That makes sense that they would be. As far as TikTok dominating YouTube, I am assuming that refers to revenue. I can't speak to that. I have not seen TikTok's financials, and I also haven't even looked at YouTube's financials. So I am taking your word for it that YouTube has lost money for the last 3 quarters. As far as the justification to push shorts, like I said, I think it is just the amount of time that the average video consumer is spending on TikTok over YouTube. YouTube is likely seeing a decrease in the amount of time people are spending on their platform, and that is terrifying because if you don't see growth, you're dying. That seems to be the ethos of a lot of these tech companies, of a lot of these Silicon Valley companies, and that is terrifying because it is incredibly short-sighted, and I think it leads to a lot of drastic and terrible decisions. So if YouTube is making these massive shifts in the content that's prioritized, for instance, let's stop focusing on our bread and butter, the long-form content, and start focusing 100% or 95% on short-form content because more people are watching short-form content on TikTok, or maybe we've had 3 quarters of losing money. Let's go ahead and shift to short-form. I think that would be tragic because the long-form content has been YouTube's bread and butter. It's what they have done better than any other platform that has come out. What was there? Snapchat, there was Vine, there was Twitter, Periscope. I can't remember all of them. There have been a lot of video platforms that have come out. YouTube has tried to compete with all of them. The only thing that YouTube has done well has been the long-form content. And I think it would be terrible for them to do that, to abandon that long-form content in lieu of short-form content. And I am sure that a lot of that motivation to move from long-form to short-form is because of TikTok, the competition, the viewer behavior. But I am also guessing that some of that motivation is because of their financials. If what you're saying is accurate and they have had 3 quarters of losses, as I discussed last week with Logitech and Blue, when you are publicly traded, there is a lot of pressure to never have any negative growth, never have any losses. You always need to be growing faster than you were last year. And if they are basing their entire strategy for the platform on 3 quarters of losses, that is concerning to me because that is incredibly short-sighted, especially when you take into account the economic situation. Economics incoming, not financial advice, gave you the disclaimer. The last year and a half, 2 years, there has been a lot of inflation. What has that led to? Individuals, consumers having less disposable income. When consumers have less disposable income, they go out and buy less stuff. When consumers buy less stuff, what happens then? Companies have less income. When companies have less income, they have less money to spend on advertising. What does that lead to? Companies advertise less. What is YouTube's monetary system based on? Advertising. There has likely been a massive decrease. Why did I say that weird? A massive decrease in online ad spend, in ad spend in general. So if they are seeing that downturn and thinking, oh gosh, it's because of TikTok, we need to just completely shift and become TikTok Junior, then I think they are wrong, and I think that is a terrible move. So I am a bit concerned based on your analysis. If your analysis is correct, I am assuming what you have said is correct. If they are doing this because they're terrified about TikTok and a couple of quarters of losses, yikes. Because I still don't see a good competitor to YouTube. I still don't. Mainly for long-form video. For short-form, yeah, go for TikTok. I'm sure that's wonderful. People love TikTok. The algorithm's supposedly incredible. It will manipulate you and say, this is exactly what you want. Watch more. Here's your rabbit hole. Go watch every single video about watches and cologne. And here's who you need to hate. Get angry. Watch more content. So, yikes. I'm concerned. I didn't want to be concerned today. Gosh darn it. What was your name? Nathan, you jerk. Wait, where are you? Jeremiah. Jeremiah, you're a jerk. Next, we have a comment from Jeremy. He says, hey, Bandrew, I have a question. Can you recommend tube mics for home project studios? I think the Pure Tube sounded great on your voice, and as someone who records in my room, I love the sound of tube mics, and I think they would complement my own vocals. However, I am unsure about the practicality and upkeep involved with using tube microphones and whether the benefits they offer justify the investment. I am especially considering the Telefunken TF51. So with that being said, what are the key considerations when using tube microphones in a home studio environment? Are there any specific challenges or precautions to be aware of, or should I just ignore those completely? Ignore these completely. Thanks for the help. Jeremy, thank you very much for the question and the comment. I really do appreciate it. I want to preface my response by saying I am not super technical, so I don't understand the inner workings of a tube microphone. I also have not recorded in a bunch of studios, professional studios, a bunch of different project studios. So my opinion is based 100% on the microphones that I have and the microphones that I have used in my specific studio. I have not done deep dive research into forums where people share their opinions and their experiences with tube microphones where their houses are wired up differently. I don't know about any of that. But with that being said, I can't think of any considerations or challenges or precautions that would need to be taken with a tube microphone in a project studio or home studio over a professional studio. In my mind, all of the considerations are identical. The things that I would consider before buying a tube microphone are, number one, the vast majority of them are noisier than solid-state mics. So do I need a sterile, dead silent recording? If that's the case, I would search for a tube microphone that has an incredibly low self-noise, or I would likely go solid-state. Secondly, they are fragile. We have heard dynamic microphones are incredibly robust. Condenser microphones less so. You need to be a bit more careful with condenser mics. Well, tube condenser microphones are less robust than solid-state condensers, so you need to be a bit more careful with them. If you are rough with your microphones, if you beat them up, if you drop them a lot, tube microphones may not be the right choice for you. And the next one kind of goes in line with that. There is upkeep. The tubes do go bad. And as they go bad, you will have that cost of replacing the tube. But not only that, if this is your only microphone, if your only microphone is a tube mic, and the tube goes bad in the middle of recording, you're going to be out. You're not going to be able to record. So you need to take into account the fact that you will likely need to pay to repair the tube or replace the tube rather every 5-10 years, depending on how much you use it. And if you mistakenly drop the microphone, you may need to replace the tube. And if you don't have a backup microphone to use when your tube microphone is down, then you're kind of out of luck. You're not going to be able to record anything. And if this is your livelihood, if this is something that allows you to unwind, that may be a big downside to tube microphones, the lack of reliability for a lot of them. Those are all very big considerations. My experience with the Manley reference cardioid microphone almost made me swear off tube microphones completely. I almost swore them off, and if I had not bought a stack of tube microphones before I experienced that Manley reference cardioid, I don't think I would have any of these. I would have likely swore them off. Because why the heck would I want to go through the pain that I went through, the difficulty that I went through with the Manley? What happened, I bought this microphone. It had some sputtering sound to it. It sounded really funky, super high noise floor. So I contacted the company. They sent me a replacement tube, tried to fix it. Second tube in the microphone within the first couple of weeks, didn't fix it. So what did I do? I had to ship it back to the company. I didn't have a microphone for 2 months, I think. I am assuming they replaced the tube again. They may have changed some other things. Then I got it back. And still, the noise floor was higher than any other microphone that I had. I compared the Manley reference cardioid self-noise to the Audio-Technica AT2020, which has a 20-ish dBA self-noise, which is very high. And the AT2020 sounded dead silent compared to the Manley. Those are things that you need to consider: the reliability, the durability, and the cost of repairing or replacing the tube. If that was my first and only experience with a tube microphone, I would not use them. But luckily I had some good microphones, like the U67, like the LCT840, like the 1040, like the TF51. I almost said 41, TF51. I had those microphones simultaneously, so I understood, okay, they're not all bad. They are not all bad. But there are downsides to them. So would I recommend you as a project studio or home studio user to buy a tube microphone? Not because it's a tube microphone. I think that gets a bit more play than it really deserves. I don't think that's a selling point like a lot of people think. Let me explain what I mean. If you think the TF51 is the best sounding microphone that there is out there and it's the exact tone that you're looking for, and you have the budget for it, go for it. But if there's another microphone that you like the sound of just as much, and you think, oh, but the TF51 is tube, so maybe it'll be better. No. If you like the sound of it and it just so happens to be a tube microphone, go for it. But do not fall trapped to the idea of, oh, it's a tube microphone, so it's going to make my recording so much better. It's going to make me sound so much more professional. No. It's still a microphone. It still captures what you put in front of it. I have heard some people say, oh, a tube makes it sound more 3D. Maybe they have better ears than me. I don't hear it. I don't hear that. I can say that the Lewitt Pure Tube versus the 240 and 440 from Lewitt has a much smoother sound to it. Is that because of the tube? I don't know. So I wouldn't buy this microphone because it's a tube. I would buy it because I like the sound of it. So if you like the sound of the TF51 and you can afford it, and if you have a backup microphone. I think that is an incredibly important thing to consider. If this is going to be your only microphone, I wouldn't recommend going tube. But if you have a solid backup mic that you enjoy, and you want to add the tube microphone as your primary, but if it fails, you can pull out the backup and still record, then I would say go for it. I hope that was helpful. Thank you for the question. Next, we have some comments from user. I'm not even going to say that. Thanks for the 411 on Rogue Amoeba. What DAW do you use on your Mac? By the way, did you know that you're an adverb now? Well, your channel is at any rate. Apparently, pulling a Podcastage is what you are doing when you compare an affordable microphone with a super unaffordable one. The unaffordable one often being, though not always, a Neumann. Hello, Neumann. U87. Congrats on being an adverb, man. User blah 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 blah. Thank you very much for the comment. To answer your question, the DAW that I use is Logic Pro 10. It's what I've been using for over a decade. I was using it before it was Logic Pro 10, Logic Pro 9, 2009, 2010, somewhere around there. And most DAWs do the exact same thing. The only thing that is different is going to be the keyboard shortcuts and the layout of the screen and how you navigate everything. So my opinion is use what you're comfortable with, use what you're effective in, and everything is going to be fine. Of course, that assumes you don't have any requirements for your job, like using Pro Tools because you transfer files back and forth, something like that. So I use Logic Pro. I see no reason to change. But I did also want to address the being an adverb thing. Comparing an affordable microphone to an unaffordable microphone is now called pulling a Podcastage. First off, I'm flattered. I am honored. But it kind of bothers me. It kind of bothers me because I am sure there are people out there who aren't saying it in a lighthearted, fun way. They're likely saying it in a derogatory kind of way. So I want to explain why I do that, why I include comparisons from affordable microphones to unaffordable microphones, the AT2020 to the U87. I do it because the U87, from video to video, is a control. I have spoken into that microphone in so many videos that somebody who is researching microphones, if they've watched a handful of my videos, understands and knows how I sound on the U87. So if they watch a video and my voice sounds incredibly different on the 87 that week, they know something funky is going on with my voice, something got screwed up in the recording signal path, something got messed up in the upload or the edit. It's there so people have a control from video to video. You can go and listen to my spoken word comparison on the U87 from video to video to video, and it should be relatively consistent. The only real difference will be the minor changes in the way I'm speaking that day or the placement in the room. Everything else should be consistent, and that's the purpose of including it. The other reason why I do that, because there are times where I am doing a higher end microphone, let's say the LCT 1040, and I may have included an AT2020 comparison, something like that. I know in some of those higher end mic reviews I've included the NW700 or the AT2020. What is the purpose of my reviews? To give the most amount of people the best understanding of the gear that I am reviewing. What is the best-selling microphone out there? The Audio-Technica AT2020. What is the best interface, best-selling interface out there? The Focusrite 2i2 or Solo. The Scarlett series, those are the best-selling interfaces. So the reason that I include comparisons of the NW700 or the AT2020 to higher-end microphones is millions of people have those microphones. Millions of people use those microphones and understand how those microphones sound. They have an intimate understanding of the performance of that gear. So when they hear me compare the AT2020 to the PureTube, they have a point of comparison, a reference point to understand the mic that I'm reviewing significantly better. So to those who are just making fun of me, that's funny, good joke. I did the same thing with Jacksepticeye. When I learned that he did the U87 into the Focusrite 18i20 or the Focusrite 2i2, watch my U87 review. I call it the Septiceye Special, running a U87 into a Focusrite. So I have no room to really complain about this. And if you are just doing it in good fun, that's funny. That's funny. I mean, it's stupid. It's stupid, but it's fun. But if you are saying it and you are actually being derogatory about it, if you mean to disparage me because of it, cool. I'm doing it to help people, and you're just being a jerk. So there's my response to that. I am honored that I have become an adverb, and it is pulling a podcastage. And if anybody actually thinks that what I am doing is some kind of negative thing, eat my shorts. Go ahead and send them this clip. Now you understand why I do it, because I'm trying to help people so that they understand what they are researching and might be able to waste less money and make the right purchasing decisions. Oh, what an evil guy that Podcastage is. People may not even be saying it derogatorily. I am just assuming that some people are because it's the internet. And I know there are parts of the internet who just downright loathe me. They hate my guts. They hate my guts, and that's fine. It's fine. Not everybody needs to like me, but please like me. Okay, I've rambled enough. Thank you very much for the comment. This is completely off topic, not on topic for the podcast at all, but the last two comments come from Michael and an ink guy. Michael says, I had a Mont Blanc and a Cartier, and both dried out many times without use. And an ink guy says, your green ink recommendation is Diamine Sherwood Green. Glad I can help as your shows have helped me so much. Thank you both so much for the comments and the discussion on fountain pens. This is such a cool topic to me, but I just don't talk about it publicly because I don't really have a forum for it. Well, I guess I do. I have this podcast, but I don't want to bore people with every new hobby that I adopt. Oh, Bandrew's talking about fountain pens now. Oh, Bandrew's talking about water bottles. He's researching water bottles. What is wrong with this guy? So I don't talk about all the hobbies that I have. They just slowly seep their way into the show on occasion. The first comment from Michael I had to include because this is some new information. New information has come to light. I knew Mont Blanc made fountain pens. Those are widely regarded as great fountain pens, or maybe they're just expensive fountain pens, luxury fountain pens. But I had zero idea that Cartier made fountain pens. And now I want to research Cartier fountain pens. I know Cartier makes a bunch of jewelry. I know they make wristwatches that are great. But fountain pens? I had no heckin' idea. How neat is that? And then I had to include an ink guy's comment because he gave me a great recommendation. I bought Diamine ink, Sherwood Green ink. It arrived, and I put it in one of my pens. The Lamy Safari converters still haven't arrived. They got lost in the mail. So I had to put it in a different pen, but it looks great. And I wrote something on a piece of paper, which is where you write things, and I took a photo of it to share with you. If you're watching, you can see it. It looks great. It's the exact green that I was looking for. It's a forest green, and I am in love with it. Great, great recommendation. And an ink guy's reputation is the word I was looking for, remains intact. An ink guy had a great recommendation for an ink for a non-ink guy. Thank you very much, an ink guy. I appreciate you. The ink is awesome. I'm going to have to do a deep dive on your channel and watch all that. Oh, God, I don't want another hobby where I just end up with 500,000 things. I know if I watch your channel, I'm going to end up with a dozen inks. I know that's going to happen. I'll watch. I'm going to have to exercise some very strong self-control, though. Okay, that is it. I'm not doing Ask Bandrew again because I have just been so off my game and I have had so much saliva that I keep pausing, swallowing, and then forgetting where I am. And I've been recording way too long. So this is it for this week's episode. Thank you so much for coming by. Don't forget to leave a comment on YouTube. If you're just watching or if you're just listening to the audio version, go over to the YouTube video and leave a comment responding to one of the topics that we discussed: fountain pens, YouTube analytics, the YouTube partner program, pulling a podcastage, any of those things. And let's try to engage and boost those comment numbers up above 100 to see if that has an impact on the performance, and I will report back to you next week on how that does. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. You are an amazing human being. I hope you have an amazing Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Next Sunday, I will talk at you and with you and about you. Maybe not about you, but talk to you then. Bye-bye. Whoa, boop.
This has been a Geeks Rising production. Your executive producer is Bandrew Scott. For more information, head over to www.geeksrising.com.